Hi, my name is Richard. I'm in the Master of Arts in Theological Studies and I am from Malaysia.
My name is Chin Ai. The way that I tell people to remember is Chin Ai. And I'm also from Malaysia and currently not studying.
So we first heard about Asbury, actually for me specifically, from social media last year during the midst of the Asbury Awakening. And at that time, I was thinking of going to graduate school, and I was not too sure what to study as of yet. But then when the name Asbury came out, and then we were talking with our pastors who had done their seminary here in the US as well, but not in Asbury, they recommended to say, hey, you should take a look at Asbury because for what you're interested in studying in, which is mainly like theological history, church history and everything, they have a pretty solid program when it comes to how they deliver the stuff. And so after comparing it with a few other seminaries from here in the United States and also back home in Southeast Asia, we decided to say, you know what, Asbury seems as if it's the most fitting for what I will be looking for, hence why I applied to it.
Yeah, I think for me, just hearing Richard's passion towards history, especially church history and theological history, and how history sort of impacts the sociocultural of a certain region, and as well as vice versa. Looking at the degree programs offered in Asbury Theological Seminary, it felt like it would be fitting for what he wants to study.
So what I hope to do in my degree after graduation is actually to go back home to Malaysia, to be involved in theological education back there, hopefully in one of the local seminaries, or to be involved in the seminary space in Southeast Asia. This is due to our research, or basically before when we came over to the United States, we found out that there are great seminaries that are teaching about MDiv programs and everything. So there are a lot of great MDiv scholars and such. But when it comes to say like the supporting elements, like say church history, maybe creedal history and such, it is not really up to par as of yet. So I hope to go back into that space and be part of like the larger group that helps to like bring it up to par so that we can properly support, I think, theological education, not only for the pastors and for people who are in ministry, but also for maybe the laity, people who are interested in wanting to know all about the other parts of the church as well.
Yeah, I think it would be to develop the historical understanding of Christianity, of church history, and of how, maybe even how Christianity was even brought into Asia, and Southeast Asia specifically, would be where we are hoping to delve into. I am very interested in developing, I think, maybe developing people and developing Christians, especially women. So I would say that is probably where my heart lies. I currently am not studying yet, but we don't know what God is doing. So maybe if I get a degree, I think where I do see myself is probably with care and potentially spiritual care and support for church people. Not just church people, but everyone that we get to encounter. So yeah.
The keyword is yet.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what God does. Our thoughts about the welcome basket, we love it. We felt very welcomed. So it achieved its purpose. I think especially coming from Malaysia, we had just finished a 30-hour flight about there.
Yeah.
And so I think having the necessities already prepared for us, and opening our door and entering into what would be a new home, having rice and the real necessities like rice, noodles, we had bed sheets, we had towels. So thank you so much for preparing some of those necessities for us. We're very blessed to have a American friend come with us. So she was able to bring us to some grocery shopping, but we were just imagining that if we did not have her, how desperate and we would be, and that welcome basket was seriously what we needed during this time.
Especially for when we first came, like she mentioned, like it was like close to a 30-hour over journey. And then because of the temperature difference, from back home in Malaysia, we are used to a very tropical, sort of like high 80s, low 90s sort of weather. And then when we landed towards the end of August, it was very surprising for us because it was like low 60s. And we were like, what is going on? Isn't it towards like the end of summer? And so I kind of fell slightly ill with a slight cold. And so having that welcome basket there and having like the fresh fruits, like the tomatoes, the carrots, some potatoes, like having like the pots and pans, even having like the kitchen utensils prepared, we could just easily whip up like some simple like chicken soup or vegetable broth that helped me to recover from that. And so it was definitely a very welcome surprise, and it took away a lot of like the planning of like, oh my goodness, when are we going to get groceries and stuff, because we had those food items prepared there. And like she mentioned, the other stuff like the bedsheets and towels as well, where we didn't have to worry about that like for the first week or so. So we could just focus on settling into the community. And so just like, as for me at the time, we're just recovering. And then before like we finally got like plugged into the community properly. So we were really appreciative of the welcome basket, because it really did welcome us like in not only to Wilmore, it like felt like welcoming like into the larger community and the family that the families that stays here in like Calais Village and Wilmore itself.
And I think like in Asian culture, we don't necessarily like to ask for help per se, because we don't want to trouble people, we don't want to disturb people. So I think having the welcome basket already there was very, very helpful and very warming, very welcoming. And it didn't feel like we were burdening anyone, but it really truly felt like a welcome gift basket. Yeah. It was not in a basket though.
But we were definitely welcome.
Yes.
So this is one thing that I personally wish for people to know as an international student coming here to Asbury Seminary and Wilmore, Kentucky in particular, is that transportation is something that you have to consider or something that you need to be aware of. So where I come from Malaysia, I live near the capital city of Kuala Lumpur. So I'm very used to public transportation, and I have a car back home, so I can move around very easily. But because of the location where Wilmore is located in, without a car or without like a public transportation network right here, it might be a bit difficult at first to move around. So we were very thankful during the first month here. We were blessed with say like new students who also joined the seminary, also other international students who live in Calais Village, even our neighbors who were more than happy to say, hey, if you need help, just let us know. And then they brought us to go grocery shopping, to actually go and get like the necessities. Like even the international student department, they were very helpful as well. Because I am working on campus part-time, I needed to get my social security number. So we just have to like talk to the people in international office, shout out to Adoni, and then they help arrange for transportation with the other international student peers. So transportation is definitely something that you need to be aware of. It's not the easiest to get around at first, but by plugging into the community, by getting to know people around, you will be able to find your way around eventually.
I think one thing I would like people to know about international students and families is that probably we come from very different cultures and different language backgrounds, different sort of socioeconomic backgrounds. So I think that sometimes when you might see international students sort of gather with each other and with each other. We're not being exclusive, we're not being excluding, but sometimes especially if you're able to sort of speak your home language and speak your mother tongue language, I think it does bring a different level of comfort, it does bring a different level of familiarity, and sort of, I think it's a different kind of bond, and that's sort of, I would say it's not an excluding thing. It's, but it's also it's a missing home kind of situation. But I would say like, come and ask, come and talk with us, come and be patient with us, as a lot of times I think for a lot of international students and families, English would not be the first language. So I would say be patient with us as we try to find the words we're trying to say, as we're like translating in our heads what we're trying to say to answer your question. But be patient, and as you're patient and as you're asking more questions and are curious, you will find out, I think, new things about that culture, new things about the person, and new facets of who God is. So I would say, come and talk to us, come and talk with us, come and spend time with us. Even if you don't know the language, sometimes I believe that God speaks through our hearts. And so even if you don't understand fully, I think being with and being in these like international fellowships, you can hear the heart of the people and then in turn hear the heart of God. So yeah.
So I think one thing we're very thankful for as well is the ability to come and study here, thanks to the scholarships that are provided by the seminary and by the people who are giving or donating to the seminary. Because as for ourselves as well, this would not have been possible were it not for the scholarships as well that the seminary provides. And one of the reasons why we're very thankful for this is because at times it's usually just like the exchange rates that happens. And so what might be quite affordable in terms of American dollars, like when you convert it to like say our home currency, whether it's like say for Malaysia, it's called a Malaysian ringgit, or maybe say if you're from China, like the Chinese yuan or renminbi, it suddenly just blossoms to quite a large number, where it becomes quite a bit staggering, a bit of like you have to think like, is this really feasible or not? So we are just quite thankful of like, were it not for this financial giving and scholarships that enable us to come and study, to pursue what we feel is God's calling for our lives. We're just very thankful for it.
Yeah, thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your offering, your gift offering to the seminary. And we take it as, we receive it as God's blessing and God's gift, and God's answer and confirmation to our question of, is this truly really where God is calling us? In this next season, in this next phase of life, as well as for our vocation, we are asking that question, or we were asking that question very much so back home in Malaysia, because the like Richard mentioned, the currency exchange rate is quite taxing and it's quite high, and so receiving the scholarship and getting the scholarship really felt like a confirmation that God was calling us and God is calling us to this place right here, right now. And so we thank you. And we are continuing to pray and to seek God's sort of direction and will, even as we even as Richard complete his studies.
Not yet for her.
Thank you.